Hey guys, today we're here and we're reviewing this, the 2014 420d Convertible. So I've actually been driving this BMW for the last month and I have to say I absolutely love it. It's exactly the type of car you imagine yourself owning in the Gold Coast. So nice beautiful weather with the top down, driving a nice BMW. It's exactly what you imagine. So today we're going to go through all the features that this car has, all the ups and downs of owning a 5-year-old BMW, how it feels like on the road, and whether or not you should get the diesel or maybe even the petrol variant. So let's get straight into it. Let's take it for a nice drive and let's see what we think. Okay guys, so in today's video I want to talk about the BMW 4 Series, everything about the car, all the different models that you can get. So you can get like a sports line, luxury line, a modern line, and essentially what that means and what you get in terms of those options. I also want to go through how the car drives, how it feels on the road. Today we're actually driving the 420d, so this is the diesel variant, and I really want to talk about the different cars in this segment. So the Audi, the Mercedes, and have a chat about them as well and talk about why you'd get the Audi as opposed to the Mercedes, or the Mercedes as opposed to the BMW. So I really want to go into all those features as well. The car that we're driving is a 420d BMW. It's a 4 Series convertible and it's a diesel. So 20d, 2-litre turbo diesel. Now with the 4 Series and the convertible, you can get 4 different engines. You can get the 420i, the 428i, and the 435i. These are all the petrol engines. Then you've also got the 420d, that's the one that we're driving. And essentially between them, what changes is the size of the engine and the power output, you know. So the 435i is just the most powerful there is, except once we jump up to the M4. Now, with all of these cars, you can get 3 different, variants, let's call them variants, except for the 435i. We'll go into that one a little bit afterwards. But the 420i, the 420d, the 435, the 428i come in the luxury line, the sports line, and the modern line. So between them, the price actually stayed the same. This is the funny thing, the price stayed the same. The features stayed the same. What changed was the way the car looked. And between that, I mean something like the rear mufflers. Like the rear mufflers look different on the sports line as opposed to a modern line, as opposed to the luxury line. Maybe the front bar, the rear bar, and the different color interiors that you can get changed as well. So like on the modern line, you can get this nice cream interior, but on the sports line you can't. Like on the sports line you can get like the red interior instead, or the black, or whatever. Between the three, it's just preference. That's all comes down to preference, you know. So it's which one you prefer, which color options. So like the modern line that we're driving has this nice wood finish with the beige and the black interior as well. Now the sports line gets this more sporty aesthetic, and really that just comes down to preference. So I can't really tell you which way to go. Now in terms of standard features, these cars come pretty well optioned, you know. So I think the base price was in the low hundreds with all on-roads including. And for that you got the nice leather seats, electric leather seats, you got the big nice screen in front, you got the GPS, you got the heated seats as well, the nice leather steering wheel with the paddle shifts, cruise control, automatic headlights, dual zone climate control as well. Pretty standard features in today's cars, but we've got to remember this is a 2014, so back then that was pretty nicely optioned. But what's incredible is how many options you can get for the car. So with the options that you can get, it's like, I think it's about 9 different options. And those include stuff like the M suspension pack, the comfort access system, which this car actually has. So that includes keyless entry into the car. Now, it does have the start-stop button standard, but not keyless entry. And what that means is all you have to do is actually just walk up to the car, touch the door handle, and the car opens. And I think that's an incredible option to have. And the other thing it has is an electric boot. Now, it's not an electric boot which opens and closes the boot. It's an electric boot to actually open the boot once the convertible's down, so you can actually get something like a suitcase into the back. And that's actually, like, I'll show you the video now. That's an incredible feature to have, especially if you're going somewhere with a suitcase or bigger luggage compartments. It's something that you'll need, because otherwise the boot opening is so small, and the boot itself is small to begin with. Once you put the top down, it's 220 liters. Like even with the boot fully open with the roof up, the boot is about the same size as a Corolla. I think a Corolla is even bigger from my memory. But anyways, that's secondary. So something definitely to have. You can get like the Harman Kardon sound system, lumbar support package, so you can get lumbar support for the seats. And you can also get like the surround view cameras, so it's like cameras all around the car, so when you're parking you can see the front and the back and the sides. Otherwise the car gets a reversing camera standard and front and rear sensors. And with the sensors, it actually shows you on the screen like how far and how close you are to something, which is really good to have, because I don't necessarily agree that you'll need to have cameras all around the car, but showing how close you are to something in front of you is just a really good feature to have. Some other options that you can get are like 19-inch alloys. These come with 18-inch standard. The different leather seats, so you can get different type of leather, like a softer leather. You can get like a heated steering wheel. We're in Australia. It's, especially where we are, it's sunny every single day. You can get like the park assist, where the car parks itself for you. You can get like the adaptive LEDs, so it's like these ones have xenon headlights to begin with the nice LED circles, but you can get like upgraded LED packages, so they actually move with you when you're going around the corner. And you can also even get like the adaptive cruise control, because like I said, cruise control is standard, but adaptive cruise control is not. So that's all the features that you can get on any one of the models. And like I said, that comes standard, like all these different, they call them lines, modern line, sports line, luxury line, come in all of them except for the 435i. Now the 435i comes in only the sports line. So being a sports car, that's probably what you would expect anyways. It's a nice car. Now the car itself, okay, is actually pretty low to the ground, and being a BMW, it's a driver's car. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever driven a BMW, but the suspension is a lot harder than, you know, say something like the Audi or the Mercedes, and you feel a lot more of the road. Now, I love it. Like, I love this car. Like, it's it's just such a nice car to drive. In saying that, sometimes you don't want to be driving on a harder car, feeling every bump, feeling every piece of the road, and it can just get, you know, a little bit annoying sometimes, especially if you're going for a long drive. And we did this the other day, and we went for about like a 2-hour drive, and seriously, it just, like, after 2 hours, I was just so grateful to get out of the car. And part of the reason was, like I said, the seats are electric, and you can put the seat higher and lower, but you cannot, like, there's no knee support. And by that, what I mean is the knees can't go higher and lower. The knees can extend, so if you've got longer legs, you can extend so you've got support under the knees, but you can't make it higher, so, you know, like, there's a little bit of like an arch for your knees. And that just makes the biggest difference in the world for me. But I look past that, and I drive this car, and I love it. I absolutely, like I said, I've been driving this car for a month. Like, I didn't have to drive this car for a month, but I just get into it. I put the top down. Even with the top not down, it's so much fun. Like, it's just so much fun. Like, okay, it's about, I think, 240 kilos more than the coupe, because of the convertible top, and it's an all-electric top. The all-electric, it takes 20 seconds to go down, and 20 seconds to go up. Like, that's quick. You can even do it while you're driving. I think it's about, yeah, it's about 18 kilometers per hour that you can do it up until. So it just works. And oh, it's just so much fun, you know. Like, even with that extra weight in the car, you can go into a corner and the car just grips. Like, that's the thing about a BMW, it just grips. It's just so nice. And like, the car actually has 4 different drive modes. It's got the comfort mode, eco mode, and it's got sports mode. Now, what sports mode does is it makes the throttle a little bit more touchy. You know, I call it accentuated. So as soon as you tap on the accelerator, it's straight away. There's no delay, there's no lag. It holds the gears as well. So instead of changing gears rather quickly, and the car's got 8 gears, so by the time you're doing 60, you're usually in gear 6. So it's trying to save fuel as much as possible. Like, the car's combined liters per 100 kilometers is about 5. So it's 5 liters per 100 kilometers. That's what's claimed. And mind you, like, I've been driving the car for a while, and I averaged in city, like start stop, around, I think it was about 700 kilometers out of a full tank. Like, that's a lot, you know, out of start stop traffic. And if I drove on the highway, you open the car up, I'll probably have got a lot more. But here's the thing, you put it into sports mode, it turns off this silly start-stop technology, which annoys the donkeys out of me. Like, I don't like it at all. But you turn that, like, it turns itself off, and the car stays on all the time. But can you hear the car? Like, you probably can't hear the car now because it's not that loud. But it's just holding gears now. I'm going 50 k's an hour, and it's just holding the gear. So if I wanted to give it a little bit of acceleration, it's instant. You know what I mean? And then the 4th mode is Sports Plus, and Sports Plus just changes the whole car altogether. And what that does is where things get interesting. It turns on dynamic traction. What that means is it doesn't turn off traction control. No, it doesn't do that. But it allows a little bit of slip in the wheels. So what that means is if you're going into a corner and you're going very hard, it will give a little bit of slip to the car, so the back just, you know, it's a rear wheel drive. The back just slips out just that little bit, and once you plant your foot, it just gains traction and goes. And oh, guys, it is so much fun. It is, it is like nothing you've ever dreamed. It just grips and just goes. Like, it's a diesel, you know, it's meant to be lagging and whatnot. No. There's a BMW. The essence of driving the BMW, being the driver's car, is just so much more than, you know, having a nice car, feeling good. No, it's the rigidity. It's the rigidity in the platform. It's about 40% more rigid than the previous platform. So what that means is there's no creaks, there's no squeaks, you know, you're just driving, it's just like a normal car. The only time you'll hear a squeak is when you're going down a driveway and going on an angle, but that's to be expected. We're in a convertible, you know, so everything's built in the platform itself. Now, let's have a talk about the competitors. And quite frankly, there's nothing you can compare the BMW to. And the reason I say that is because the BMW is the only one that makes a hard top. Now, the Audi makes the A5 convertible in the same year model, and that wasn't a hard top. Now, Mercedes did not make a C-Class convertible until only a couple of years ago. So in 2014, there was no C-Class convertible, and there was only the E-Class convertible, and it only came in the E250, and the E250 was not a diesel. So here in Australia, they did not make a diesel E-Class convertible, and I think it's very unfair to compare the E-Class to the likes of the 4 Series or to the likes of the A5, because the 4 Series is based on the 3 Series, the A5 is based on the A4, and the E-Class is in a class of its own, which really is only compared to like the 5 Series and the A6 Series, because it's a bigger platform. So to compare the E-Class is a little bit silly. But even if we talk about it, they're all very comparable to all the features that the car has. And like features wise, like the BMW is 135 kilowatts and 380 torque. The Audi is 130 kilowatts and 380 torque. The torque is the same and the kilowatts is 5 kilowatts difference. They both have a claimed rating of 5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is slim to nil. And now we're talking about the Audi 2-liter turbo diesel. Audi did also make a 3-liter turbo diesel, and that's just the most beautiful engine. It's just so quiet, it's just so, that engine is just so refined. But we're not comparing it to that because we can't, you know. The 4 Series did not make a 3-litre turbo diesel. It only made a 2-litre turbo diesel. The specs, the Audi's boot is much larger. So if boot size is very important, you'll probably opt for the Audi. And partly because the Audi has a soft top convertible, whereas the BMW has a hard top. So the hard top's obviously going to take a lot more space. And that means even with the top up, the Audi has a lot more space in the boot. And when it comes to close time, like I said earlier, the BMW is 220 and the Audi is 320. Now other stats, 0 to 100, the BMW is 8.3 seconds, the Audi is 8.3 seconds. The only thing I'll say is that the Audi can be nicer to drive. Yes, I've said it. But the only reason why I say that is because the BMW, like I mentioned earlier, it's just a harder car. It's the driver's car. So it's always about being on the road, always being about grounded on the road, whereas the Audi makes a softer car, you know. I won't say it's necessarily quieter, but it's definitely softer in terms of the way it drives and feels on the road. Because like now, if I'm going around this bend, you know, it's just so much fun, this car. Other stats, the Audi is actually a Quattro, so in Australia it only came in the Quattro series, and that was the 3-litre turbo diesel as well in the Audi. The BMWs are rear-wheel drive. That's why you can have so much more fun in it, and that's what you want. Like, you're buying a car like this, you want to have fun. Like, that's up a hill, you know. It's just like actually, you know what, we're not going to do a 0 to 100, but let's do a 0 to 60 test. So we're going to pull up around this corner. I'll pull over, it's a 70 road, and I'll do a 0 to 60 just to see how the car picks up, because at the end of the day, it's a smaller engine, it's 2-litre, but I really want to show you guys the way the turbo works and how instant it is. Now something else I really love about the BMW is the way you feel in the seat. It's snug. It's got these nice like support seats. Like I said earlier, I don't like the fact that it doesn't have the knee support, but everything else about the seat makes you really feel at control of the car. How everything is laid out, like the screen is there in the middle and sort of, you know, angled towards the driver. All the buttons for the air conditioning and all the buttons for like the stereo is all at your hand, so I can just rest my palm here. And it's got the BMW iDrive system, so I just turn the wheel, go backwards and forwards. And I have to say, it's probably one of the better systems out in the market. I think it works actually a little bit nicer than the Audi. And obviously the BMW has been working really hard to make it as perfect as possible. And yeah, it's so good to use. Even though it's like dated, it's 5 years old, this car, it's still easy to use. You know something cool which this BMW has? I'm pretty sure it's an option. I couldn't find as much research about it as I needed to, but it's got these little air vents, so you can have the top down, and these little air vents will blow hot air onto your neck. Because let's face it, when the top's down, you get this huge draft in the car, and you can be wearing like a jacket, but you still want the top down, and that just makes everything so pleasant. What's interesting is how much space you have in the rear seats as well. The back seats actually have a very long seat. So what that means is, even though it doesn't look like you have a lot of leg room, you don't need a lot of leg room because your whole leg is sitting on the seat. Yes, granted, there's not a lot of headroom, but leg room plenty. Up here, let's turn left. Now, I'm not doing anything silly, just foot hard down, 0 to 60. That was a bit over 60, but it's 70 road, so we're good. But you see how quickly it just picks up speed? It just gets up and goes. And you see how it's holding the revs? It's holding the revs. So if I wanted to go again, I just go. It's so much fun, this car. Now, if I want the 4 Series convertible, would I get a diesel? Probably not. I'll probably go for like the 428i. That's probably ideal. The M4. That's the dream. That's the car we want. But anyways, like guys, I love this car. If you're thinking about getting a 4 Series convertible, I would definitely recommend this car. It's like Very reliable, no squeaks, no rattles. It's a 5-year-old car. It's got 50,000 kilometers on the clock and it just drives really nicely. It's a little bit hard to ride, and since I do short distances, that's absolutely fine by me. If I was doing longer distances, I probably wouldn't go for the 4 Series on this convertible anyway. That's just because overall, I don't think it's the most comfortable, you know, for longer distances, and having done that, I definitely won't own one. However, I love this car. I love driving it, I love being in it, I love having the top down. It's just so much fun. Anyways guys, I think that's about it. If you got any questions about the car, put them down in the comments below. Happy to answer any questions. I think it's time to head back. So guys, that's a wrap on the BMW. Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Tell us if you like the car, if you like the styling of it, if it's got all the features that you'd appreciate in the BMW. I gotta say, I absolutely love the way it looks, even the convertible, even with the top up. It's just so sleek and it's so nice looking, and I love the way it feels on the road. Anyways, if you got any questions, feel free to comment. I'm replying to everyone. And yeah, until next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Oh, I love this car. I absolutely love this car.